Good day and welcome to Land and Property Focus. It is very good that you have been able to join us today, where we are going to discuss another important topic when it comes to land and property in Ghana. Today we are discussing stamp duty and property valuations. Of course, there's no property that you would own or have in Ghana where you would not have the need for some sort of valuation or stamp duty payment at some point in its life cycle. So today we are going to treat that topic with somebody who really has a very good knowledge in that area and actually practices it as his day job. If you've already liked our Facebook page and followed it, please do share with your contacts and ask them to do the same. As well, you can follow our YouTube channel. It's very important that you do follow, and then you do send our comments, ask comments through those media if you need to get to us. You can also send us messages through our WhatsApp number, which is 05,673. Later down during the show, I would put the number on the screen so that if you're not on either Facebook or YouTube, you can actually send us your questions through. So I'll now move on to the legal session. The legal parts of the laws we have, which I've chosen today, is from two acts. One, the Land Act 2020-1036. I think we will be hearing the Land Act and its issues quite a lot these days because it covers a lot of the things that you need to know on land and property matters in Ghana. So sections 29 to 31 cover the power to conduct valuation, valuation certification, forms of valuation and purposes. And under forms of valuation and purposes, you have, for forms, you have capital, rental, and rating valuation. And then under capital valuation, you have estate of deceased persons, valuations that are ordered by courts. And then you also have compulsory purchase valuation, and then stamp duty assessment. Now, today we're going to go particularly into the, the stamp duty assessment so that you would know what these are their importance and why you must know them, and also what the surcharges are. So I would move on straight to bring on my guest. My guest today, as you may have seen through the flyers, is Mr. Charles Agana, who is the head of the Land Valuation Division of the Lands Commission in the Central Region. So he is now a fully fledged Ogwa Koto, and joining us today to share with us his experience and knowledge. Welcome, Mr. Agana.
Thank you very much, Mama.
Okay, so stamp duty. We hear stamp duty. Sometimes when we're going to register land, you hear that you have to go for stamping, and I presume that's the same thing. What is stamp duty?
Stamp duty is a form of tax that is imposed on documents or structured instruments which gives legal backing. It's a form of tax that's regulated by an act of parliament, that is the Stamp Duty Act of 2005, Act 689.
Okay. So in terms of stamp duty, what sort of documents are required to be stamped? I kind of glanced through the Stamp Duty Act, and it looks like I need a whole degree in it to actually understand exactly, what the specific parts cover. But what are the types of documents that you need to be stamped?
If you look at the Stamp Duty Act 2005, Act 689, it mentions a whole wide range of documents that are required to be stamped to give it legal effect. And let's look at the first schedule of the Act. It basically classifies these documents into four. We have those that would have to inspect the particular land for the property before we able to assess the tax. The second category is what we refer to as the non-inspection cases. And this includes leases, sub-leases, and mining leases. Then we have the third category, which is referred to as financial documents. This includes mortgages. These are loans that are loans from the bank. The agreement that is processed for the loan agreement is referred to as the mortgage. They include liens. They include promissory notes. They include performance bonds, guarantees, agreements, debentures, a lot. These are what referred to as the financial documents that has to do with the loans from financial instrument agreement from the bank. And the last category, which is the fourth one, is what referred to as the light documents. And this include power of attorneys, maybe share transfers, certificates, declarations, receipts, person assets, probates, letters of administration. These are how we have the light documents. So these four group of documents, as we have classified them, are all required to stand to give a legal effect. So these are the type of documents that the law requires that should stand for them to have legal effect.
That's very interesting. I've gone through. So you have your inspection, your non-inspection, your financial, and I believe you said the light document. They're very, very illuminating. So I think you may not have touched on fully, but what exactly is the importance of stamp duty? So assuming that I have the option, either through I have a document which falls under any of these four, and I decide not to obtain stamp duty, what do you think the negatives are, or what are the things that the average landowner or the average person using these documents should be aware of?
Yes, basically there are two key important things to consider, or that makes stamp duty very, very important. The first thing is that for interest lands, or what we refer to the land companies, they are not required to be entered into the land register until they are stamped, or until they do that assessed, and then the stamps are placed on them. So that is one. That means that the document cannot be registered if it's not stamped. Okay. Then secondly, for any document to be admissible in court, for you to give
for it to have to be enforced at the law court, the court will never entertain any document of any sort if it is not stamped. So stamping, as I said, gives two effects. One, it enables you to be registered, and two, it allows you to be tendered in court to make your case in case of litigations.
Okay, so I guess the take-home point for those watching us is that if you do have a document and you don't go through these right processes, then if there is a conflict, it's going to be difficult for you to tender that document. If it requires a stamping, it's going to be difficult for you to use that document as you want to. So with all these different classes of documents, what are the bases of assessment? How do you assess your stamp duties?
Yes, as prescribed by the law, the duty ranges from, it could be a percentage, as I said, some are ad valorem, mean that it's a value-based stamp that we do, ranging from 0.25% of the value assessed to up to 1%. Some are also flat rates of say 2 Ghana cedis to 25 Ghana cedis flat. So the person
as I said, for covenances like the assignments,
the mortgages, the assignments, the freeholds, and then the gifts, you are supposed to take at least 1% of the value. That is, if the value is from 0 Ghana cedi to 10,000 cedis, we take 0.25%. Then from 10,000 cedis to 50,000, we take 0.5%. Then if the value is more than 50,000 cedis, you take 1%.
I see. So in terms of these values, I looked at the Stamp Duty Act, and it appears to have, obviously, it was passed in 2005. That was before we rebased, I believe that's the right term, our currency by 10,000. So a lot of the fees that are on there, a lot of the charges, it's almost like 5 Ghana cedis, 25 Ghana cedis. And I wonder why we still have those rates, because technically, I mean, 5 Ghana cedis today or 25 Ghana cedis for you to stamp a document, you know, how does that work?
Yes, as I said, the framers of the law probably considers the type of instrument that is presented for the stamping. Document, they say it's just an affidavit that someone has gone to show an affidavit that he's bringing to give it legal effect. You just pay a nominal duty of 2 Ghana cedis.
So the impact of that is really about
For you to
that's the legal effect, so the person can be able to do whatever you want to do with it legally.
Okay.
So the framers of the law doesn't really look at the financial benefit or to twist it, but just the fact of giving it legal back. So the owner or the bearer of that document can go ahead and do whatever you want to do with it legally. So, for instance, for leases that are, say, for 99 years, the duty is not that much
as compared to a gift or a conveyance or a freehold. So for those ones, the state look at, or maybe for a mortgage, that the aim is made to make money for the state as well as give a legal effect. So I think the framers of the law, the Stamp Duty Act, looked at the type of document that is involved and said, for this one, really, we're doing it's not the aim is not to make money for the state, but just to enable the owner of the document give it legal effect, so he can use it to do whatever he wants to do legally. So that's why some of the duties are so nominal, like 2 Ghana cedis, up to 25 Ghana cedis. While the others is algorithm. The higher the value, the more you should pay.
Okay.
So it is better.
So I have had this, I think within the past month or so, I have had a client who has approached me with a freehold document that was stamped. Well, the document was completed this year, so sometime in February or March, from a family. So the first thing that I said when I saw the document was, this is illegal, because obviously, according to the Land Act, families cannot pass on land freehold. But that document had a stamp on it from the Regional Lands Commission of the region in which the land is. So my question is, why would such a document be stamped? Because once it's stamped, it's pretty much given the cloth of saying it's a proper document, but obviously it's not. Is it something that is checked, or is something that perhaps the stamping process doesn't need to take into account?
Yes. So as I said earlier, there are very different purposes of stamping. One is for registration. Another one is to give a legal effect.
Okay.
So
as outlawed creation of freeholds or conveyances. In that case, if you even stamp it, the registrar of or the registrar of the land tax registry will not even accept it from you because they're not supposed to register it. But maybe the person who bought it, they could then be able to go and have an investigation with the person. So we can't say because maybe the law says that you can't create it and you have created and bringing it, we should not stamp. It can be stamped, all right. But it's not that you will be able to register it. Maybe the person just have to go and court and have a litigation to refund his money or something.
Okay.
But when the person cannot send that in court, it's not stamped.
So on that basis,
the stamping is done. But it may not be accepted for registration.
But it may not be accepted for registration and registration. At the land tax registry already.
Okay. So another question I have is that for many documents that I've seen for land, there does not appear to be a mention of how much the land was actually bought for. So that line or that gap or space is always left empty. Now, how do you assess stamp duty on land? For instance, if I buy land and I buy it for argument's sake, I buy it for 100,000 and it's not on the document, and then the Land Valuation Division decide to value it at say 200,000. How do we kind of deal with the difference that we have between the two?
Yes. every instrument that is presented for stamping, you are supposed to state the consideration or the value that occasion that's granted to you. So, no human beings as we are, some people want to outsmart the system. They either go and understate, or some be very sincere and state the real values. So, what the law, the Stamp Duty Act requires the Commissioner of Tax or the assessor of the Stamp Duty is that even though you have stated something in there, I am required to also do my own valuation of the market value of the property. And then if my value that I assess as income tax or stamp duty as or commission of tax, and if my value, I think that in the opinion, the value is more than what I am supposed to pay the tax on my assessment. So if you make a document that is zero consideration, I'll ask you what's the consideration you're supposed to put in there. But I'm compelled to take what you have stated there. Because some automatically want, because they want to pay later or they want to beat the system, they always underestimate or put something small there. Or property I bought is maybe 5,000. Everybody knows that area property is 5,000 cedis. It's not natural. It's not normal. It could be maybe more than that. So you'll be required to pay based on the opinion of the assessor of the tax or the value that is done by the Land Valuation Division. So we are not duty bound to accept figures that are stated in the documents by the parties or by the owner of the document.
Okay, thank you very much. So I guess stamp duty is just one of the duties of your department, and a lot of the work you do also affect property and property holding. So perhaps for the benefit of those watching us and those who would watch us in the future, can you take us through a brief account of the types of valuations that there are for property?
Basically, before I move to look at the types of valuations that they are for property,
which also as a stamp duty, it's not all documents that, as I say, we're talking about some are paying nominal fees, some really they are not supposed to pay anything at all.
Okay.
And that's why we refer to those that have been exempted by the law. But we still have to stamp it, put a stamp on it that you can use it for whatever, for registration or for litigation purposes. And there are some of these that I've briefly mentioned, those that, for the purpose of our listener, that for this type of documents, when you present them, the duties are exempted. You're not supposed to pay anything. And some of these documents include a bond given by a public officer for the execution of his duty, appointment of a proxy. If you are a lawyer, if you bring a proxy to vote in a meeting, that proxy is not subject to stamping. Authority given to a person to receive from the Controller Accountant General Department of any money, if given authority knows somebody to receive money from the Controller.
Yeah.
It's not subject to stamping, or not subject to duty. Authority to a number of money deposited in any savings account, somebody approach to deposit money, it's not.
Well, transfers of shares in government stocks or funds of foreign currency, they are not subject to duty. We have transfers made as part of divorce settlement.
Exempted. There are transfers made from a spouse. If you make a transfer to your wife or from a child to a parent of any property account, they're all exempted from duty. Transfers of shares in unit trust, we have transfers and covenants in charities, transfers of loan capital, all bankruptcy or insolvency documents are all exempted according to the law. Transfer of property under will or any instrument relating to testamentary dispositions. That is, if it's a personal assent or whatever, they're all exempted. We have probate and the letters of administration, investor assent, as I mentioned, they're all exempted. Insurance policies are exempted. Instruments for sale, transfer, or other disposition, either absolutely by way of a mortgage or otherwise, of a ship, a vessel. So there are a whole lot of documents that have been exempted. Maybe out of that, I can't go through most of them. Basically, these are the key ones that when you bring them, we'll stamp them, but we'll stamp them with an exemption stamp, so that you pay zero.
I think the most important one which I picked out of your list is the one between husbands and wives or wives and husbands. I guess the Land Act now says that if even your name is not on the document, you're deemed to be on the document. So perhaps they will not even be bothering you anymore because they already have the right now. So they don't need to transfer the documents between themselves unless maybe they want to just show their names on the documents. But I just thought I should bring that point in. So in terms of types of valuation, can you just briefly expound on the types of valuation that there are in valuing property?
Yes. As you are aware, we have different types of valuations. It depends on the purpose that you ask for. We could have valuation that is meant for compensation purpose. We can do valuation that is meant for capital, that is just assess the market capital value for either court or for mortgage or for whatever it is. We have valuation that is meant for rating, that is property rates, local taxes that are paid on property by the local judicial assemblies. We also have valuations that are for estates. Maybe there's a deceased and you're inheriting. We assess the estate duty so that you pay for you to be able to transfer the property from the dead to the next of kin or those who have the right to inherit it. So because of that, we have several methods that we use in assessing.
You can rely on what called the cost of the contractor method. We have the investment methods, we have the profit methods, and so on and so forth. So it depends on the purpose that you want it. That will determine which method I'm supposed to use to arrive at the value for that purpose.
Okay, so this is I guess a theoretical question. I have a filling station. What type of valuation are you going to undertake for such an interest?
Yes, there are certain type of properties. The value is not based on the brick and mortar of that property. So we may have a filling station, maybe just on little structure at the corner of a street, but the volume of sale or the volume of business is transacted there. So if you go evaluate the property using the brick and mortar and the iron rods, you will not get a good value. So for such properties like a filling station, we use what we call the profit method. So you go into the books of accounts that is being run in that particular business, look at the sales volume, look at the outgoings, then get a net profit that is making. Then you capitalize that profit for the number of years or the interest, how long.
How many years as a person, if say 50 years, if they say 40 years, they need to capitalize the net profits that is raking out from that property for that period of years. So for filling stations, as we have mentioned, we can use the profit method
or use what we call the investment method in assessing the value of it, but not use the capital cost or what we call the contractor's test, that is use the brick and mortar value. If you do that, the value will be very small.
Okay, so I guess this puts us in a very good position to look at some of the other valuations that you do in your department. I think across the Lands Commission regional branches. So you have valuations which you do for compensation. I guess this is more for compulsory purchase. If somebody's house is bought by the government for use for any reason, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. As you said, when the
government doesn't own land by its own, because government is not
a school or a family or inherit land from its
own.
The government is with any project, it has to go and take a land from someone who owns it. And as you are aware, the Constitution and the Lands Act requires that for the state to be able to take someone's property for the public interest,
then he has to compensate the person. And for compensations, we don't only look at just the market value of the property. There are a lot of incidents that has to be considered in assessing such a valuation. So for compensation valuation, yes, we'll look at the capital value of the property. We'll look at other, maybe there are disturbances the person has suffered. There are other head of claims. Maybe he had engaged lawyers in advising him, has engaged valuers in advising him, or maybe he has other people may have interest in the property. Maybe people have the right of passing through it. So you have to value all this kind of interest that exists in the property that will constitute the compensation value. So you see, the compensation value really is different from just the market value of the property. Because the person sitting there, you're asking to move, you have to pay disturbance. So now he has to go and look for land somewhere, start all over, scouting for land to now reach
calculate all this or this claim set of claims to form part of the compensation.
Payable to the person. And besides, as you are aware, if government takes your property, you are supposed to go and take a professional to advise you how much. Well, the law requires that you should put in your claim. Tell the state how this taking up has affected you. So he has to state, maybe I've lost this profit for this period of time. This is the value of the house. This is the lawyer that has advised me, presented me in court, or this give me advice. This is the value that I've picked. So you have to add all this head of claims to constitute your compensation figure. They will assess it, vet it. They will recommend it for the state to pay you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I think for those who are watching us, we're having a bit of a problem with the sound, and it is not our doing. It's just the internet connectivity. So we're trying to balance as best as possible to make sure that we hear the very important things that Mr. Agana is sharing with us today. So obviously you've talked about compensation and that you also have rating valuation, which is more of, I guess, a tax on houses, land, and property. Can you give us a bit on that as well?
Yes. If you look at the Local Governance Act, that act empowers all local authorities, or what we refer to as metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies, to levy rates, because we know that these are development agents at the local level. And it takes money. People expect all their local authorities, assemblies, that come and fix our roads, come and fix this our sanitation problems, fix this our issue. So the assembly is emboldened by law, or they are authorized by law to
that the people in the district expected from them. And one of the key sources of financing to these assemblies is
rating. So the Land Valuation Division of the Lands Commission is, as by law, required to advise assemblies on the values of all properties within their jurisdictions. So that valuation, that is for the purpose of taxing or for the purpose of paying rates, is what we refer to as a rating valuation. And this we do for all assemblies in Ghana, so that based on that, they cannot decide that, look, we are going to pay this percentage of the value for the purpose of paying taxes, or what we call the property rates. And I must be quick to add that this, as per the law, we don't do valuation. It's not done based on capital value. No, the law requires that if, say, for owner occupier or for rental promises, or that one, the value will be different. If an owner occupier, the rentable value shouldn't be more than 50% of the market value. If it's a rental promises, the market value, the rentable shouldn't be more than
cost method. So the filling station example you gave, for the purpose of rating, we're not going to look at the volume of sales the filling station is making, or look at the level of
that is made from the filling station, so that you pay.
So we use what we call the cost method. What is the cost of
the rate? So basically, we use what we call the cost method. What is the cost of producing?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. Thank you very much. I guess my last point on this is that I find out from your website that you do also undertake valuation generally for members of the public. So what is the basis for doing these? What is the cost? How can people come to the Lands Commission and say, I need land valued? And, how do people go about it?
Yes. The public requires valuation for different purposes. For instance, you want to go and take a loan at a bank, you can call on the Land Valuation Division of the Lands Commission to prepare a mortgage valuation for you. Or you want, for any purpose, as I said, just for any other purpose of valuation, you can call on the Lands Commission to advise you with that. So the public, we render these services to the general public, but at a fee, as required by stated by
very interested. So the public can also call a land valuation to advise them on what to give valuations for them at the fee.
Okay, so what is the fee? If I come to you now and ask you to value my, 3-bedroom house in Kotokraba, what is the fee?
Yes. For capital valuations, we're supposed to take 0.5% of the capital value that has assessed.
Okay.
For rental valuations, if somebody wants to rent from somebody, ask the commission to advise you on the rent charge amount. We will finish, we will take 2.5% of the annual rent that has been assessed for you.
Okay.
Then for compensation valuations, we take 10% as for God acquisition charges.
Okay, wonderful. So I guess we have we have covered a lot of the questions which I had today, and
we take 10%.
So we would go on to the questions that we have from those who are watching us. I'm just trying to make sure I get this sound to work so that those watching us can actually follow the conversation that we are having. But thank you very much, Mr. Agana. I think it's been very insightful, and it's a shame that we are actually having some of these problems with our audio. I would go through with the questions, and then you might deal with them as they come. So I have, I think we have comments from Mo Kataba, Perpetual Asumeni. We have Manda Salihu and Emmanuel Akli, and then Alexander Sihine. They were talking about the fact that our sound wasn't the best. I hope we are getting to you better now. And then I have a comment from Mr. Emmanuel Akli saying, going forward, how do we apply GIS and remote sensing to property valuation? Mr. Agana, do you have any thoughts on that?
Definitely. And remember, I said that some of the cases are inspectable cases. So why do you have to let a client come pick you all the way to the land physically and go and have a look at it? So using remote sensing and GIS, you should be able to sit now. So go onto the net.
Using remote sensing and GIS, you should be able to sit now
and then be able to know whether it's developed or it is undeveloped. So it will save time and cost. So definitely, the commission is really employing this technology in as assessment of stamp duty. So you don't always have to physically go to the site all the time to make sure there's a property on it or it's on it. So it's very important that we really deploy technology in this right now.
Okay. So I have a question here from Alexander Sihine, who says the exemptions are plenty, but they take money one way or the other, right? Okay, the exemptions are plenty, but they take money one way or the other, right? Or that is for the Go Boys. So, Mr. Agana.
Yes.
The personal assets.
Yeah.
The law says that you should not pay the duty, but you pay what for the processing fee. Because
you don't have exempt,
but you are required to pay a processing fee of 60 Ghana cedis. And you know that it's a public institution, so any money paid is receivable. So if you give money to a word that doesn't account for it, then you know that this one can go to someone else. But that's not right. So for every fee paid, receipts are supposed to be issued for it. And if they're exempted, but you pay the processing fee alone, but you pay the duty.
Okay, so is the processing fee a flat rate? So you charge processing fee for every application beside what is the impost? Oh, okay. So that is a standard of 60 Ghana cedis.
That is for lease, but for assignments and conveyances and freeholds, those ones you pay 70 Ghana cedis for the processing.
Okay, all right.
So it's a processing implementation, which is 40 days or 30 days. But the number of documents, or it's either 60 or 70 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
But the duty is exempted. That's for those that are exempted. You pay only the processing fee. But those that are not exempted, you pay the duty plus the processing fee.
I see. Okay, so Mr. Sihine, that is your answer. Perpetual Asmeni says, interesting discussion, but sound is not stable. Our apologies. It's these things. We try our best, but the internet and all the network and everything that we try and balance it out. Our apologies. We hope that at least you've got some of the message and the very important information that Mr. Agana has passed on. Nana Jace, could you go over the bit where a spouse is entitled to a property even if his or her name isn't registered in the documents? That's very insightful. I guess, Mr. Agana, would you take a look at that, or you want me to deal with that?
After the new land act, as we mentioned earlier, where people are their spouses and then you go acquire property in resale in the name of only one spouse, the law will imply that it's meant to be owned by both. So that's why it's stated that whether you give resale alone or resale in the name of the man or the man, by implication of this law, the property is owned by the two of you. Unless you state contrary intention, that is, you must state that this property is for the sole ownership of this person or that person. Yeah. But if you're silent on that, the law will imply that the property belongs to both spouses.
Okay, so that's just to add on to what you say. I think some of the confusion that people have is this only applies to documents that are made after the 23rd of December 2020. So if you had documents before then, this law does not apply. So don't panic yet. But if you're having, and I guess that's why the law also makes a room for you to be able to, if as a husband and wife, you agree that this clause is not going to apply, then for any new properties that you buy, you can actually say that clearly in the agreement. But if the document is an old one, then you don't really have that concern. The next question, I've got a statement from Ankama Joseph, who says, bad sound, nevertheless, very insightful. Thank you for watching. And then I've got Sarah Enchibuesiak, who says, what is the Land Commission's turnaround time for valuation of a property? Mr. Agana, I think as efficient as you are, this is 1 day, isn't it? Is that not the turnaround time for your valuations?
Not a day. Not some of them, for instance, the inspectable ones,
where
we will have to go and inspect. And so we have cables, for instance, where we do it in some hours. Oh,
okay. Well, I was trying to push you. I was trying to push you by saying 1 day, but being that you do some evaluations in hours, I think you're ahead of the game.
But some to have to between 3 days, and we depend on for a crowd that there's so much, the volumes are high, very high. That one within 3 days for the inspectable ones, it's okay. But we have a kind of around time of 3 days to do evaluation.
Okay, so I have a question here from Ankama Joseph, and he says, how can you guys help the MMDAs rake in more revenue for local government?
Yes,
Yes, I'm listening.
Yes, it costs money to prepare rating valuation, and most of the assemblies really, I don't know whether for whatever reason, are reluctant in committing resources in preparing rating valuations for their areas, because at least it costs money to prepare all these things. But I think GIZ currently is sponsoring most of the MMDAs. For instance, the year 2020-2021, the GIZ has asked the Land Valuation to value 49 districts.
Mm-hmm.
So we are able to do 49 rating valuation for 49 districts, and I think plans are far advanced.
Add on more the districts. But the assembly themselves are supposed to prepare budgets that will enable the Land Valuation Division to prepare valuations of property, rateable properties for them. But the challenge is that there's no money. There is no money. If you don't commit money to prepare the rating valuation, then how do you also make money from the rates, the property rates?
Okay. So, Mr. Ankama Joseph, I think that's the answer kind of explains what is happening, but I can also see the point. I guess for your department, you're just going to do the valuation, and then it's for the district or municipal assembly to then kind of decide what rate they're going to impose. I have this question which has come to me before. So apparently, and this is not your area, so if you don't know it, that's fine. But apparently in Accra, for instance, it's put in zones. So Kaswa is in one zone, and therefore they pay a certain percentage of rate. And then airport residential area is in another zone, and therefore they pay another type of rate. Is that the situation?
Yeah, that is the situation. We use different classifications. Remember when I was talking about rates, I even mentioned that.
So meaning that if your property is rented, the rate will be higher than when the owner is occupied. Secondly, we have classification based on what we call the first class, special area, second class, and then whatever. So if your property is found in cantonments or rate, definitely the rate that's applicable to that is different from a property found in maybe the outskirts of Accra. So there's really differences in the rate. That is the factor that is applied on the property, the percentage charge. Because a property in the prime area automatically will pay more than a property that is found in the outskirts or found in the very urban areas.
Okay, so I guess then my follow-up is, if I am rich enough and I decide to build a house in an area which is classed as a low value area. Let's say, for argument's sake, Kaswa is a low value area, and I build a house which is worth $10 million, and then it is actually going to be given a low rating, as opposed to if I build that same property in cantonments. Is that the situation? Because and would that be fair?
Yes, it's because the purpose of taxation is to take from those who are capable. That's the assumption of the law, because for we know that it's not everybody that can go to say the cantonments and the airport to share area to build. So the class of people there. It's just one thing. So you pay less as compared to if you had the same property located in the private area.
Okay, that's fine. So we'll go on to the next question or statement, which is from Kofi Bartplange, and he's saying audio from guest side is quite poor. Is there going to be a transcript available afterwards, please? Yes, I will make a commitment to make a transcript available, or perhaps make sure that I clean up the audio before I post the real video. So my apologies for those of you having this sort of feedback. I think we have exhausted all the questions that have come to us from both Facebook and YouTube. And then also I've got a question from Abna Tichi, or it's a comment saying she's watching on WhatsApp. I have a comment as well from Mick Apia, says, I see you, ma'am. I don't know if that is you, Mr. Agana, but that seems to be coming through. So thank you very much, Mr. Agana. I think we've had a very fruitful discussion about these things. It's a shame that we had the problem with our audio, but it is nonetheless a very important topic that anybody who owns land or has any dealings, and of course, when it comes to stamp duty, we are not only talking about land, we're talking about a lot of other documents that people need to be stamped to make sure that they are actually valid, because the last thing you want is to have a document thinking it's valid and you turn up in court if there's a dispute, and then the courts would say, unfortunately, because it's not stamped, it is not something that we can recognize. So it's a very important thing that we should all have a look at. There are a few questions coming in. Perhaps I'll deal with those. Emmanuel Akli says, I really want to commend the Cape Coast Land Division under your leadership. Well, Mr. Agana, it looks like you're doing a wonderful job in Cape Coast. And so Mr. Akli is congratulating you on that. And then Edinkra Photography says, thanks, very informative. Alexa Sehine says, property rates, if I am billed by the assembly to pay a flat rate for more than 3 years, can I say I shall not pay? Mr. Sehine, I think that's more a legal question than I think there are claims, it's like civil claims and stuff like that, which if they don't claim or they don't follow you over a number of years, I think it's 6 years. If they don't claim over 6 years, then you don't have to pay. But Mr. Agana, do you have any knowledge on this?
Oh, the assembly is supposed to, for I don't know for what reason that they will not come for the money and they allow to accumulate. But you too, because if they're supposed to serve a demand notice on you, so when they don't serve a demand notice, then they just lump them together, maybe in a fault area. Then that way they can raise an issue that why do you wait around for the past 3 years? You've not been coming there.
So that way you can engage the assembly and the prisoner to say, maybe it's our fault that we didn't come for the money, and that maybe you can just waive off.
Yeah, that we on our own didn't come for it.
Okay, so I guess Mr. Asihine, you've got your answer there. I've got a comment from Rose Nyaba, says thanks. And then Joe Mensa says, you're doing a great job. Kudos to you. Thank you very much, too, for watching. And please, for those of you who already have followed our Facebook page and liked it, please do share our videos. And most importantly, if you do have any questions, any things that bother your mind that you want us to either have a show on or to answer your questions on, please do share. I think it's through this kind of interactive programming that we are able to learn and empower each other. And that, I think, would cause a change in our land and property delivery in Ghana. Also, if you are already subscribed with our Facebook channel, please do share with those friends and family of yours so that we can all together be informed and be updated as this program goes along. So thank you very much. The comments are still coming in. Divon says thank you for the insights on stamp duty and land property valuation. And then Sarafina Yawson says great. Nane J says this program should have come on earlier. Nonetheless, we are thankful. We hope the coverage can be extensive. And then I have another from Kwame Kurante, who says good presentation, very informative. You're doing a good job, Rose Nyaba says. So I think suffice to say, Mr. Agana, it has been a lovely show, and I think from the comments that we are having, everybody has really enjoyed. Al-Hassan Zakaria says, thanks, my boss. I think you're very popular in Cape Coast, and people are happy with the good job that you're doing. So keep up the good job, the good work. And if we do have any specific questions, I would definitely draw you up into this again for us to have a discussion. So thank you very much for joining us, taking time out of your relaxing Saturday to join us on this show. And we definitely are very grateful. So thank you.